Oh, yes.
All right. Wow, that was out here. Hello, everyone. Nice clunky start to the 25-26 season. All right. Got the whole crew here today. So for those of you who have not met yet, my name is Todd Kosicki. We've got Athena Delgado, Kat Kennedy Helbert, and Michael Gonzalez here with us as well. We're going to give you a nice quick overview of the season to come, all the fun stuff that we've got planned. It'll be a bit of a refresher from a presentation that we had over the summer, specifically the town hall, but we'll get into a little bit more of the details. We've only got about an hour, so we won't go too much in the details, but we'll show you how to access all of that information from the different guides that are either out there or will be coming out and finalized this week before player memberships go on sale. So you've got, of course, you've got the comment section here that you can post any questions or comments in, and we'll try to get to those as we maybe towards the end a little bit. So any of you three want to say anything before we get kicked off here?
That sounds like a sunshine and rainbows thing.
All right. That's what we like, you know. With all the negativity in the world, let's bring some positivity to the sport that we all love. So, all right. Well, we've got a couple of quotes. Both the first couple quotes might be the actual opposite of sunshine and rainbows, but it's sort of the mentality that this team is kind of going into this season with this kind of us against the world type mentality, where we subject ourselves to social media. I don't know why we do that, but we do. And obviously, sometimes it can not be a pleasant place. But when we look at in perspective of the comments and stuff that we do read, and we keep the mindset of something I taught I brought up over and over again to the area manager, was the Stockdale paradox, where it's the mindset where despite all the challenges you go through, everything is going to work out well in the end. So kind of keep that mindset in mind while we go through our day-to-day stuff. So the first one is, you'll never meet a hater doing better than you are. If you have not read a book by David Goggins or seen any of his reels or anything like that, definitely urge you to do that. His book is pretty intense, but he is just a no-quitter type mentality. So if you get a chance, I think the book I read of his was Can't Hurt Me. It's a pretty cool biography of his story. So, and then the next one, I love this one. Nobody watches you harder than the people who don't like you. All right. So as we know with social media, we can see those frequently. The people who definitely. Oh, did I mute myself?
Nope, we hear you.
Okay, so I saw a comment pop up saying I was unmuted. So yeah, we see stuff online, but we have to keep our mindset that we know what we're doing is for the best of this sport, for the growth of this sport, to continue increasing the people who are aware of this sport. Because let's be honest, as I've seen some of the comments that say, "Oh, ACL will be done in 5 years" or something like that. Let's just be honest. If ACL were to go away tomorrow, cornhole stops growing instantly, just like that. So even our competitors want us around. Certainly, even our biggest competitors, they they want the ACL around because we're the ones who invest the money and grow the sport, and then they are able to piggyback off of our hard work. So, yeah. So I presented this slide a few times in the past already, and just it's worth re-emphasizing. I'm going to bring up a graphic in just a second to kind of hammer this point home. We know that the ACL has knocked it out of the park with our pro field in terms of what we do with the pros. Okay, some people might love it, some people might not like it, but there's no denying that the pro level of the pro field is what is helping this sport grow with the TV exposure and all that stuff. But it's more than just chasing points, and I really want everybody that's watching or who's going to watch later to just keep that in mind. That, and again, I'm going to present some statistics on the next slide. Always fun to see statistics and data. But there's so many different pathways for people who want to play this sport, whether it's through just the community. Michelle Thompson does a lot of great work on the community side of the sport and bringing people together. We know that most everybody who started in this, that's what they fell in love with. They love the sport, but they love following the community part of it. So you've got those players who really like that, which is a large chunk. You've got the really competitive players who want to shoot for the ultimate level of being an elite player, a top player, and stuff like that. So those players, we've got a pathway for them. The players who just they like to get out weekly, they like to play, they like to be around people. All of those different things, you can get that with your ACL events, and to support that. Okay, because we do hear the narrative that only pros and point chasers play the ACL. Here's two important pieces of data that I want you to look at, and just look at how big those casual players sections are. Okay, the one on the left is the number of unique players that we had in the ACL last season. And unique players means, one player, whether they played in 10 events, one event, 100 events, they count as one unique player. So 87% of those were competitive players or lower, so listed in their profile. And that's what we consider really a casual player, maybe not necessarily a recreational player, but a casual player, somebody who's out there to have fun, to compete, but knows they're not going to go and earn a spot on ESPN anytime soon. The one on the right, if you take a look at it even deeper, still the tournament entries. So this is the number of people that registered for different events. Still, it's 70% are competitive or lower. 30% are those top level players. So still, in all of the events, through all the registrations throughout the season, 7 out of 10 players are a casual player, and we can't forget that. So for that narrative, I think that this data is really good in terms of kind of proving that narrative wrong, that it's only for pros and only for point chasers. That's the best part about it, is there's a pathway for everybody. There's a path for the pros, there's a path for the point chasers, and there's a path for the casual players who just like to go out and compete on a weekly basis. All right, quick update on our software. Talked to our business department today. They're still pretty confident that we're on track for later this year launch of our player app. Okay, and then quickly followed behind that will be our admin portal and our scoreboard, which will all be built into this app. So I shared this screenshot of the different views, or some of the different views within the new player app design earlier over the summer, but just wanted to reshare those again and give an update there. All right, I'm going to flip it over to Kat here, who's going to go and talk to us a little bit about the pro stuff for this season and next season.
I was the one muted, and I accidentally muted you. I was trying to mute myself so that no one heard my child in the background. I was like, quick. I was like, oh no, I muted Todd.
It totally rattled me. I was not sure what was going on.
I guess that just goes to show, like, nothing ever goes perfect. So everyone should remember that throughout the season. Like, It's going to be bumpy. We'll all get through it. With the pro season this year, we are very excited. Pro guides are finishing up this week. There's actually a pro guide that is on the website. It's going to have a few adjustments through it, but it'll be fully final October 1. Your top 100 pros have already seen that pro guide. I am actively working on getting together the pro agreements to go out this evening. So the top 100 will have to give those back to me by September 19th because our pros in the top 100 can only play with each other. So we want to make sure everyone in that group is completely solidified and anyone that needs to be moved up so everyone can make sure they know what they're doing. The Canada pro agreements will also go out this evening. They are due on September 20th. For Matt, that's what he has asked for. And then all remaining agreements will go out by the end of the week alongside a copy of the pro guide so everyone can review that. Those will be due back October 1st. That's going to be for any pro that earned through our pro standings after our top 100 were pulled, CPI, state rankings, women, senior, juniors, all of those. And then the state directors, I have a long list of things, by the way, that go out this evening. And that is one of them that I have been really trying to clean up to make sure it all makes sense for all of the state directors so that they know everyone that received a pro spot within their state, whether it's through CPI, state rankings, or any of those things. So make sure that you also use the link on Path to Become a Pro, How to Become a Pro. All of those qualifications are going to be in there for next season. How to become a pro this current season is in there, and it's also going to be in the pro guide for all of our pro players. So
yeah, just to piggyback on that, for everybody who's eager out there, to review some of this stuff, just be patient. Everything seems to take a little bit longer. We're in really good shape this year compared to previous years. But we got kind of memberships bumped up on us within the last week or so, 2 weeks or so. So we're just trying to catch up. We want to make sure everything is good. We moved everything over from PDFs and Google Docs into a web-based format so that it'd be easier to view on mobile. So we're trying to put this little timestamp where it shows the last updated on it. So just kind of keep in mind, look for that to make sure by the time it comes next week, we should have everything fully ready to go and not have, many changes after that. So.
Yeah. And on the side of pro things, just in case your players ask, when it comes to our pro stuff, we are well ahead of the game of where we normally are with the pro stuff. Top 100s received their initial commitment and their pro guide before we went to Spencer's. We actually did our exemptions while we were in it in Spencer's. So we are way ahead of the ball game on the pro side with our main group, and we are right where we would like to be with the other larger groups. So everyone just give me a little bit of patience. I promise. When you do see all of the pros that got offers from your state, if you haven't already talked to them, please feel free to shoot them a note and say, hey, keep an eye out. Kat's going to be sending out a lot of information and emails that are important this week. I've gotten a lot of messages from players I don't check my email. Did you send me something? Really focusing on them checking their email this next week. We put a new pro communication plan in place for the upcoming season that I'm very excited about. That's going to be great for them across the board, and especially in absence of the email thing and Facebook. We want to get off of Facebook. We tried a format last year. It didn't work well, but everyone's very excited about this new one. So we're in a good place. Pro qualifications for 26-27. We want to make sure everyone is on the same page going into this season on how they're going to achieve pro standings. Top 100 will still always be through pro standings and or through a qualifier at Worlds. We want to make sure that stays really impactful and really about the elite of the elite. The cool benefit is anyone in any of our other groups that are outside of the top 100 have the opportunity to earn that status through qualifying and playing in those pro singles and doubles brackets throughout the season. So top 100 really is attainable to anyone that wants to achieve it, right? Pro standings for our other groups Our other groups are going to be pro standings. We're going to take a chunk right outside of our top 100 that'll go into there. And then we're going to really focus on open standings. So the first level of pros for next year are going to come from your regular open standings, your women's, your juniors, and your seniors open standings. We were not lying when we said open standings are back and better than ever. And they're going to be the main focus for us outside of regular pro stuff. Then we're going to go into state standings. After the guys above have already been removed from state standings, we'll pull from state standings that top woman, that top junior, that top senior, and then we'll go in and pull our pro group for our, we say, middle-aged male group for that state standing style, as well as CPI. So make sure you get your players at their regionals, at their locals, and now maybe these interstate events. So, and then Canada works off of roughly the same thing, but they have their own structure. So.
Yeah, and that one is not updated yet. Matt and I will work on that, and we'll involve Kat with that as well for going into next season. We just haven't had a chance to get that updated for next season, but it'll look a lot the same as what it did this year. With hopefully or likely emphasizing on some CPI rankings as well, similar to what the U.S. is doing.
One last note before we go into director memberships. I went through that list really fast, but if anyone wants to understand exact numbers as to what's pulled from open standings, what's pulled from this, what's top 100, all those things, that pro guide link will take you there. There is a requalification page all the way at the bottom. It lays out every single group, how they're pulled, how you get in it, all the things. So should answer all your questions.
All right, awesome. I'll jump in on director memberships here. As you can see, we had this slide released recently. Director memberships went live today, as most of you know, and those will be available for the next few months. Player memberships will be coming shortly, so it is best if directors who are interested jump in early before the players in order to be on that list for the players to select you when they become members. A couple of new things here to highlight. There's one about halfway down there. All director levels will gain access to players' advanced stats. That's kind of one of our biggest requests coming out of last season is directors need more access to see what's going on with their players. And we're developing some ways in the admin portal, whether that starts out being inside the events, which we'll talk about later, and some other ways to see some advanced stats of your players simply just by being a director. The other one on there, director welcome kits. We tried that last year. Todd probably got paper cuts all over his fingers last year getting those director kits ready. This year we're going to an electronic version. Just some things that come out when you first sign up, a welcome email, and kind of give you some tips and tricks of what we got coming in the season. So a couple good things there on the directors memberships. And next one, director's guide. So with the pro guide, Kat was talking about that released. We've been working hard on the director's guide that just hit the website. So the director's guide is full of details for this season. We spent a lot of time kind of revamping it, reorganizing it, and helping that make sense for directors of all levels. And so the director's guide, as you can see here, is a snapshot of the front page of it. Welcome to the team and welcome to the movement. That's going to be a big part of our focus this year with directors is advocacy and being part of the movement as a team together and in the community. So director's guide is available. We will be kind of discussing that and going through it with you guys the next few weeks. And then on the director's commissions, which you will also find in the director's guide as well. Not a lot of change there. We do want to apply some focus for club directors in an effort to gain more clubs at the local level. So you see we've shifted a smaller number of that percentage in the local director's favor, but the overall percentage of commissions has stayed the same and operates very similar to last year, where players will go in and they can select a local club director and they can select a regional director. Regional estate directors could also just simply be that club director as well, so they could select a director twice, just like last season. So not a lot of change there. Pro players, when they do select their diamond membership, will have the opportunity to select you as their director, and that comes with a flat rate commission as well. So, an effort of gaining players into our system is giving back to the directors who help us grow with those players. And so not a lot of change there, but some good stuff for new directors coming on board.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So going into the player membership part here, we don't have a huge amount of changes, but there definitely are a couple of changes in here. One of them that we've received quite a few messages on, so just kind of want to get that clear and out of the way ahead of time, is the the Diamond Pro membership. So it does have two different price points here. The first being the $400. That is going to be for all of our pros. So the ones that were either through CPI, state, or through any other means. That's where that $400 membership comes from. And then the $1,000 membership, that is specific to the top 100. And that's based off of what it is that they're receiving in terms of their membership, access to events and things of that nature. So that is one thing that we've had quite a few questions come in about. So just wanted to make sure that clarification is there. So when you do talk to your players, you've got the accurate information to provide to them. All of our memberships relatively the same, and not really many changes in terms of the price point, aside from Diamond membership went from $500 to $400. And then everything else pretty much stayed about the same. Now there is an extra perk that is added to the Platinum members. So the $100 membership, if you look down, we have a open challenge standings. So just like Kat had mentioned, we are putting a huge emphasis on the open standings this coming season. That comes with the open standings challenge. So it's pretty exciting. Another way to kind of earn a couple of items, very similar to how the PEP and DEP are, but just a little bit different because those are based off of points earned through your open standings. Everything else is fairly the same when it comes to that. PEP points, you can still earn those at the club level and above, so that hasn't changed. Same thing with everything. We've got a link as well that will take you over to the actual page that will give you a lot more details. You can kind of get a little bit of a breakdown, just as the pro guide as well as the director's guide. We were very mindful in the way that we tried to make it less wordy, but make it more, here's a little bit of everything that you have. So our team worked a while just to make sure that all of that information was in there for the players. And all of the guides, you'll notice if you go through each individual guide that they all kind of flow into each other. So you'll notice that once you kind of take a look at it with the formatting. One of the other exciting things to throw out there is for any gold members or higher, we're also offering a monthly membership only town hall. So we're going to do a very good job when it comes to communicating, hey, this is what's going on this month. This is what to look forward to in the future. Just kind of celebrate a little bit of everything that everyone is doing. So we've got a very big emphasis and focus on just really making sure that we're celebrating players, but also, directors. So there's going to be a lot of really exciting things going on there, and just trying to make sure that we are being as informative as we can be by intentionally scheduling those monthly calls with everyone. Let's see here. Okay. And then, perfect. Now, one of the changes that we do have for this upcoming season is the player type date changes. So juniors, if you notice here, and again, all this information will also be in the player's guide, but juniors 17 and under would be eligible based off of 1108, so January 1st of 2008. That would qualify you as a junior for the 25-26 season. College has stayed the exact same. Adults, same thing, 18 plus. Seniors, 55 plus. We did keep the 55 in there. There is no adjustments in moving that down towards 50 or anything like that. We did have discussions about it and went through everything, but 55 is still going to be that number for this upcoming season. So that means anyone who was born December 31st of 71 or before is eligible to be a senior for the 25-26 season. And we've also added ways to update your player type in the ACL profile. So if you head on over to the player's guide, you'll notice we actually broke it down into individual steps in order to make sure that players know to, update some of their information in there. Sorry, Brian. All right, perfect.
Just going to go back real quick here to touch on a few things that I know I got a couple questions on. One, the $20 discount at opens, that was having I don't know what the right way to say it, but not a good impact on our events outside of US. So Canada, Europe, Australia, anybody who was using our open system for registration was having really, really tough programming challenges with that. And it was affecting how we could label players and things like that. So we did shift back to just a $10 discount for regional and higher events for those gold members and higher. And then the other thing that was still kind of TBD, but really hoping that we get it started for the start of the year, is the non-member fee for regional and higher events for juniors. Working to waive that fee that gets paid to the ACL for those juniors who are not members, to encourage more of those newer juniors to jump in and play. Most of the juniors that are competitive and playing quite frequently, they're going to have their membership for the stats anyways, but we're really kind of target those new junior players that aren't really into the ACL ecosystem yet, but we want to get them there. So just wanted to kind of emphasize those two things.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right, now the membership sweepstakes. So we posted a little bit about the sweepstakes. This is actually the very first time, I believe, that we've done this, so it's pretty exciting. So on the director end, 3 winners will receive a free or reimbursed director membership. So if you're signed up by 11:59 p.m. on September 9th, you are eligible. We'll get everyone kind of thrown in some type of a probably wheel or some sort and do a drawing on that, and we'll select 3 winners. Any director membership level is eligible. So I know a couple messages came in to see if it mattered which membership you are. Doesn't matter, anyone definitely works. Same thing with the player membership sweepstakes. So this is something that I highly encourage, especially as we're getting ready to roll out the player membership side. As you're announcing all of the memberships, make sure that you do add in that there is also a sweepstakes. If you know any of your players who, consistently travel or anything like that, this is incredibly exciting for them. 5 winners will receive a free registration to 2 ACL Opens for the 25-26 season. They have until September 23rd, 11:59 p.m. And any player membership level is eligible. So I would highly encourage that you post that and everything so that, players are encouraged to get their memberships quickly.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly touch on the footnote there. Under 18 and entries from Quebec are not eligible. It's not because we picked those people out of a hat and said, let's be mean to them. It's just more legality things and rules that specifically Quebec has on sweepstakes and things like that. So we're not directly or specifically trying to target you if we have any directors from Quebec on here. But just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yep, that is also me. Sorry. Yep, so the state and provincial directors, so anyone who is on the call who is a state director. So just another reminder, all of you guys are the backbone of your state. You're the ones who are building up your club directors, regional directors, creating fun, events for them. You can do just anything, jersey giveaways, anything like that. So you guys are the leaders for your state. We hope that all of you do take an opportunity to really build into that leadership role. We do have some pretty cool stuff that we'll be working with all of you on in the near future. With that, so same thing, state directors should receive an email when a new director signs up, as long as you have your active membership. We do have our group chat that is for state directors. Now, if you are a state director and you are not currently in an internal messenger group chat, go ahead and shoot any of us a message and we'll make sure that we get you added. Same way with the segue of how we have all the conversations with all the directors. So the local and club directors, we prefer, or we recommend that they go to their regional director level. Then regional directors go over to the state director level to ask any questions, get advice, get as much information as they can. And if for some reason, there's a question that might be a little bit beyond, then the state director will reach out to the national team to get any additional, information that's needed. But we're incredibly excited to have all of you. A ton of you have already, received your memberships, have been asking a lot of questions. And also have already sent emails about interstate events. So we're excited to go through all of those as well with you.
And I'll jump in just to finish up. I wrote this slide and then didn't really give Athena too much direction on my thought process behind it. But this state model is going into year 2, and there were some people who loved the conference model. The conference model served its purpose while it was around. But the state model and the provincial model is something that we're going into year 2 and really looking for our state directors to be our leaders at the state level, for the directors to help really be objective and build a community within their state, and something that can then scale outside of North America. So I really, I do a lot of the work on the international side of things, and this is a model that can really be kind of a plug and play with countries over in Europe, potentially in South America when we ever start to break ground there. Australia has states that they work through in their continent. So the expectations each year on our state directors will continue to continue to evolve and increase and whatnot, and really trying to work as closely as possible with them so that they can set all the club and regional directors up to be as successful as possible. Because the more players that we have, the more clubs that there are, it benefits everybody.
All right. Yeah, a lot of good info there. Before I jump into CPI, I just wanted to say, Athena was talking about the sweepstakes for memberships and whatnot. And while we're on this call, we got to update that, in just a few short hours today, we had well over 100 directors already registered. So that's exciting for, the first half of the first day. And that all ties into that sweepstakes. And so all those people are automatically going to be entered into that. So pretty cool stuff there. On CPI, we've been talking about CPI a lot for the last 12 months, or maybe the last 18 months even. I've done a lot of different sessions on kind of how CPI is developing and the future of CPI and where we're going. And now, what do you know? Here we are. We're at the future now, and CPI is going to be the driver going forward for cornhole. For skill levels and to help place players in the correct tiers to play in and play against their peers at all levels of events. And so as we enter the season, come October 1st, skill levels are going away. So we're not going to see that intermediate player or that advanced player skill level any longer in the system. We're talking about ways where directors can maybe still access that to see maybe where a player used to be and whatnot, on their end to have some data there. But players are not going to see skill levels. They're just going to see their CPI. And we've got a lot to learn about CPI together as a team. And the main thing there as we move forward into October is going to be flexibility. We want to allow, as we're learning about CPI and we're learning how this is going to affect regionals and locals and state events, we want to allow flexibility. And so we'll talk about that over the coming weeks and, continue on the next point there, actionable data we talked about a little bit earlier. We just want to continue to have directors and players gain access to more data and to help them make better decisions on where they should play, where directors think players should be playing. Resources coming up around CPI. There is, as there's a player guide and a pro guide and a director's guide, there's also a CPI guide. And so this is just about complete now for development. This will be going on the website very, very soon. And this will be a guide both for players and directors. So you might go into the players section and see how is CPI going to affect me as a player registering for events. And we'll have a section on that. And then you might go into the director's side and see regional. How is CPI going to affect a regional director creating a registration? And so all that stuff will kind of be found in the CPI guide, and we'll talk about that throughout the guides. I do have a couple informational sessions coming up about CPI. I have the dates locked in. I'm not sure the times yet, but I'll get them out there, very similar to this time in the evening. And just next week, I want to do one about viewing CPI in the admin portal. Some of the ways we're adding for directors to find a player's CPI. Some of the ways we're planning for that to be added as we move into the season. And then one the following week, really once we have registration kind of hammered out, really diving into what a regional registration looks like when using CPI as a director. So those are going to be very important things that we're all learning together as the season moves on. And, there's going to be some hiccups, I'm sure, and things we'll learn that need to be changed, and we'll make those adjustments. But just super excited about CPI. Been talking about it for a long time, and we'll be talking about it for many years to come. So more details coming. Next one, Kat, you doing this one?
I believe. What? Now Todd's muting me. He's messing with me.
I tried to unmute you because I thought you were talking.
Oh, I definitely was. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm muted. Okay. So I know that there's been a couple questions around, is there going to be more events? What are the events? Things of that sort. The ACL Open Series tab here is completely loaded with every event that we will do this year outside of Worlds. Now, is the information there? So close. Not there yet. This team has worked tirelessly over the last couple weeks on a lot of things, one of them being an event schedule that took a lot of time. We are always dreaming with blue skies, and then logistically, there's a lot of kinks to work out. So we went through and finally got the event schedule together for the opens and what our signature opens will look like. Now, the only event that we have not done yet is Myrtle. We're waiting for a couple things to get that one ironed out, so everyone will have to bear with us for that one. But I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to check something really quick. I know she was working on it. I believe she plans on having Athena, do you have that timeline in front of you? The Rock Hill Open fully built very, very shortly if she hasn't done it yet. I know we still have a couple more things to work out. Now that Michael's got his CPI guide finalized, we are able to go in and really put in player descriptions on how you register and make sure it's very easy for the player. We know that there's several changes this season, but we know that these are the ones that are the best for everyone, right? And that these are the ones that are going to stay for the foreseeable future. So we're going to make sure these player details are easy and that everyone understands and realizes that we are doing what's best for the game across the board. So be on the lookout for the opens all the way from the first one in Rock Hill through December's Albuquerque. So that's going to be Rock Hill, Winter Haven, Richmond, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. All four of those should be loaded here within the next, I would say, if not this week, next week. Alicia's very excited to get that up and ready for everyone. What I can tell you is it is very, very similar to what you saw last season. Scheduling wise and the events that are on each day for the opens are very, very similar to what you saw last season. So if you have a player asking, what days do I need to be there? Things of that sort, you can tell them like, hey, we've heard it's going to be really close. Yes, what has been released on the site is accurate, unless there's some reason that it shouldn't be. But everything, I'm literally scanning it right now. Yep. Every event that we are going to do this season on the national level is on the website. So there will not be any opens added. There won't be any signatures added. Our pros have been given their schedule far in advance. We released this at Worlds if you weren't aware, but this is where we land. And then Todd gets to take over the next three because those are so his ballpark.
Yeah, we've got them segmented out. We may actually have a new one at some point called interstate events, depending on where Alicia, who kind of controls our website, where she goes with it. It wouldn't be something where we create event pages for each, but instead we'd link to the interstate event page that the director creates. So just to give a little bit more promotion to those. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be here or somewhere else. In terms of the international ones, Canada has three opens that are already scheduled and listed there. Those details will be to come. Australia I'll be working with them probably starting in September or so to work on their 26th schedule. And then Europe has a few more events before the end of this month. They're still in the end of their season. They end the last day of September. So they've got a few events there, and then their 26th season starts on January 1st. So they'll have more events posted later. But yeah, this page is going to be updated frequently with details as they come out.
Oh, the best slide out of all the slides. Just kidding. They're all great. This one is a particular favorite. So the player engagement program, it is back again for another season. We learned a lot last season in terms of, how many players were able to reach the levels. Are there adjustments that needed to be made? What were things that worked? What didn't work? So we're really, really excited. There was only a couple of slight adjustments and, variations. Last season, we had 8 levels of engagement points. This season, we now have 9 levels just to help make a couple of adjustments in between some of these, because a lot of players were also playing a ton of cornhole, but we also wanted to accommodate some of these levels to make sure that the attainability was exactly where it needed to be. So everything on here, very, very similar. They receive their congratulations message, entry into an apparel giveaway, entry into a bag giveaway, monthly ACL open drawing, which is a level 4. Now, one thing that we did remove that some of you might notice is that we did have a 20% coupon at the shop. As the directors probably know, with the director's side as well as the player side, it was just incredibly labor intensive. There were a lot of departments that had to really work through to make that happen. So this season, we made sure to just make a slight adjustment to that and instead just do an entry into an ACL open drawing. So that was kind of that replacement, and then that kind of shift a couple of things over in order to make that happen. The 5K tournament at Worlds, that's remaining the same at its level 5. PEP jersey still at level 6. Excited to showcase the PEP jersey. There may or may not be an adjustment to what the jersey is going to look like, so that'll get released hopefully the next couple of weeks. VIP experience at Worlds, which is also new, kind of goes in with like the dinner that we had this season. Recognition at the Stevie Awards, so we're going to kind of do something really fun there for the players. And then, of course, the free set of ACL Pro boards at level 9. So we're really, really excited. We do have a player engagement link that also has a ton of information on the website that is located in both the directors and players guides. So you can find those there. And then we have the DEP, so the Director Engagement Program. So here we do have a couple of adjustments here as well. We removed that percentage off, same thing with the DEP. We have our 9 levels, so we did make a couple of adjustments with that where we had 10 levels, now we have 9 for the DEP. Still same thing with the congratulations message, entry into a giveaway for apparel and bags, entry into a platinum membership drawing, which is new. We're super excited for that one. Free ACL DEP jersey. There also may or may not be a new jersey design. So if you already earned one this season, you will not be receiving the same one this coming season if you already got one. Complimentary director fee for the 25-26 season. About 6 directors were able to earn that and received a free complimentary membership today when the memberships launched. VIP Worlds experience recognized at the Stevie Awards. And then same thing with the highest level, receiving a set of pro boards. So we did receive a lot of feedback from directors on what they liked, what they wanted for improvement. So we've made a lot of strides on making sure that both the PEP and DEP program just have a lot of, things that we feel like everyone would be excited for. Yep. All right. Perfect. Yep. So the Open Standings Challenge, this is something that we kind of talked a little bit about earlier. Incredibly excited. We have one for both the USA Open as well as the Canada Open. But the USA Open Standings Challenge, so this is a way, again, a huge emphasis on open standings are back. We said they're back better and bigger than ever. We were not lying when we said that. So the top 1,000 players will get an entry into a drawing for a free throwdown entry. So 2 players will have the opportunity to earn a throwdown entry. The top 500 ACL luggage tag, top 250 ACL Open Challenge jersey. So 250 players will get an ACL Open jersey. Top 100 set of bags. Top 50 entry into a drawing for an ACL Open trip. There will be 2 winners for that. 25 recognized at Stevie's with 25 plaque or medals. We're still kind of working out the details of it'll be a plaque or a medal for those earners that will be presented to them at the Stevie Awards this coming year. The top 20 free entry into all 6 nationally ran ACL Opens for 26-27 season. Top 10, a VIP Worlds experience, backstage, warm up with pro, drink tickets, full-blown experience. Top 5, complimentary diamond membership for the 26-27 season. And first, an Open Player of the Year Worlds package. Now, in order to participate in the open standings, you do have to have a platinum or a diamond membership. The only ones that are omitted from this challenge are the top 100 because they're already receiving their own separate benefits. This is something specific to everyone else within that top open standings. And then I'll let Todd kind of go over the Canada Open standings as well.
Yeah, I mean, the same general idea is there for the Canadian Open Challenge standings, smaller in numbers just to fit the size of the player pool in Canada. But Matt had worked hard to come up with this list. So each of the top 100 players will get an ACL Canada Open Challenge t-shirt. Same thing, 50 for the jersey. We'll have a similar design for the Open Challenge jersey for Canada with a Canadian theme. Free sets of bags. All 3 of those last ones that I mentioned, Matt's also going to raffle off a set of, or choose somebody in those top for a set of boards, free set of ACL Canada Pro boards. And then we've got the free platinum memberships and singles entries into all the Canadian Opens. And then the top person is awarded an ACL Canada Pro spot. Same thing, platinum member to be eligible for that one. And I'm going to put the link to the Open Challenge for both US and Canada in here. Really making an emphasis. We do have our Canadian directors on here this year that we start to offer more of our pages are the information is relevant to the specific country or the specific area like Europe. So we have this open challenge. Director's guide is largely the same, but player guide will likely have a Canadian version of that so that we can outline the different things that are there for Canadian players. We're almost finished with the player guide. So as soon as we do that, we can duplicate it and adjust for Canada. And then as well with Pro Guide and whatnot as well. Really been trying hard for a while to get individual ACL Canada, ACL Europe pages created so that we could put things like standings and these different initiatives in there as well. So, now that we have our new website, it's a little bit easier to do it. It's just, of course, finding the time and resources to be able to get that done. But I'm excited about that, having more diversity on our website so that players, it's not just all US focused at this point.
Yep. And I also want to jump in really quick before Michael, I think, goes into the next one. So I saw somebody wrote in here, Arby's. That has been our running joke for what the engagement dinner was going to be, simply because if you are a director who has ever helped at any open, there's a strong possibility Arby's is the only place ever open that we're technically nearby that we have a meal at the end of the night, or Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, ma'am, is the highlight of a director weekend.
We do not do Taco Bell unless you have to. Unless Kat's ordering, it's Taco Bell. Other than that, it's Arby's drive-through. But we do have some really exciting pictures. The club engagement page is going to feature a ton of photos from our dinner. I know a couple of people were asking about it. What happened? What did you guys do? We ended up having our dinner at HQ. Got a wonderful spread of food. It wasn't Arby's. We had a great kind of speech. Trey was there. Stacy. We had all of our international players come in, and naturally you can't have a dinner at HQ without having a blind draw. So there was a blind draw. Michael was fired twice during that blind draw. It was fine. He's still here, so we're good. But it was a ton of fun. The experience was, I think, far beyond what any of us could have anticipated. Being able to see all of the players and just everyone come together when they did was one of the coolest experiences I think that I've had, I guess, in general. So I just want to make sure to throw that out there, that the food was phenomenal. The experience was way more than I think any of us expected.
Cool. All right. Yeah. The dinner was great. Looking forward to seeing how many people can obtain that going into next season and make it a real big party. Real quickly, kind of run through these next ones quickly, stay on time here. Director's Research tab, that's something we talked about earlier. One of the areas where we want to implement this first is in the admin portal inside your event. And so when you're in your event and you have players in your event, you'll be able to research those players in that event, not specifically for that day or for that event, but research that player in total. So whether it's their CPI you want to see, or they're running PPR for 2 years, or the bag percentage, a whole host, as you can kind of see blurred out here. This data was not real data used. Just a whole host of opportunities to research players as we move forward into getting rid of skill levels and figuring out where players need to be. I did see one question come through about skill levels, or a couple of them. How do we place players that don't have a CPI? It's going to be a very similar process or mindset to how we did it last year, right? If a player who didn't have an ACL account showed up to your regional last year, what did you do, right? You would probably look at some other tools where they may have PPRs in other events and kind of use that PPR as a tool there, figure out where they should be placed. You can ask them some engaging questions. Do you play cornhole while you're camping? Are you playing in bar leagues, or are you a pro in some other league, right? And so it's just going to be engaging questions with players to help us determine where they should play, similar to last year when we had skill levels. So, and then I saw Kim asked about first regional. The plan right now is first regionals are not using skill levels, Kim. We will just be moving right into CPI and having a lot of talks over the next 3 weeks about how regional directors can have success with that in their first events of the season.
Yeah, something I might encourage you, and I've heard a couple of directors talked about this, is almost doing like an early season CPI boost. Run an event or run a weekend where people are just playing as many games as possible, as many matches as possible, so they can get a CPI, especially if they don't have one currently. So that when they start getting to bigger events, they've got that CPI. So just a thought.
Yep.
And
then
there
just to
are
touch on the
real quick, Michael. I know there are a bunch of questions coming in. We'll spend some time at the end filtering through those to make sure everybody gets an answer.
Yeah, jumping over to open standings real quick. You know, the events that were there last year are going to stay the same, right? Local club events, it's going to take a player's top 24, and that's going to have a 50 point for first place points table. So 1,200 points there. Regional doubles and singles, again, same as last year. Your best 6 out of a potential 10 that you can play in. Well, you can play in a lot more than the 10 if you travel around, but potential 10 that your director could offer. State, same thing here. It's going to take your best singles, your best doubles. However, as we might talk about later, interstate events are coming back. Directors will have the opportunity to run them, and they will have the option to run them. That they won't be required. So last year we tried to put a requirement on it, and this year we're going to go with directors having the option, if planned well in advance and whatnot, the option to run an interstate. So you could have the opportunity to play in 2 different state events. Only your best singles and your best doubles will count. And then, of course, as we've been talking about, open singles, open doubles is coming back. We're planning to have your best 2 take into account there. 2 singles, 2 doubles, and that will use a points table of 300 per, bringing you to a total of 4,000 points in the open standings and 2,800 points in your state standings. And then jumping into Canada, very similar there. Canada is going to run with 20 local events with the same points table for 1,000 points locally at the club level. And then they'll do 6 regional singles and doubles, just as we're doing in the U.S. And then in state, same thing. So with the provincial singles and your provincial doubles, those directors are going to also have the opportunity to run a second one as their provincial singles and doubles. And then open as well, they're going to take your best 1 open, and you'll have opportunity to play in 5 of those as total, for total points of 3,400 in the open points in Canada, and the same 2,800 in the provincial points.
All right. This season, we kind of stumbled in, and in hindsight, it's almost like, yeah, no, of course, this is smart to listen to people, but we really kind of stumbled in last season into having some more focus groups and talking to directors. And it really was quite eye-opening to get perspectives from directors all over the country and at all different levels. And I really found that to be one of the biggest positives coming out of last season, where we could listen to things like the board stamp policy and really then start having conversations with those departments within the ACL to help them understand how that really can affect ACL participation by doing it at certain levels. Really want to work on that this year. I anticipate, or I'm planning for at least one focus session that has a specific agenda or a specific topic that we focus on during that focus group each month, so that we can make sure that we stay communicating with the directors at all levels, and invite all director level from all areas to participate it, so that we make sure that, again, we continue on this path where we know this is going to be successful. We know it is successful, but we want to make sure that we are doing what's best for the players, the directors, and the ACL. So we definitely want to continue that national team with ACL director interactions. We're additionally going to bring back educational sessions. We're planning to have 1 session a week. Last season we had 40 different educational sessions, which was amazing for year 1. We'll see if we can top that this upcoming season. Michael's going to be introducing office hours, which are one-on-one 30-minute sessions with Michael, and hopefully down the road we can expand and include some additional top-level directors. I mentioned the monthly focus group sessions. We want to do some more getting started webinars. So those directors or those people who are interested in starting up a club, starting up a bar league, something like that, we have documentation. We've got a nice, easy, manual that they can go through and get started with how to find a venue, how to seek out sponsorships, how to, what equipment do I need, things like that, so that we can help new directors be as successful as possible, not just here in the U.S., but or in North America with Canada, but all over the globe, because the amount of groups that contact us looking to get started just keeps increasing each year. So we've also obviously got the director Facebook chat, which Athena's been working on a communication plan for that, to make sure that we continue to inform directors, both at the at all director level and then also at the state director level. We do have that state director chat where we're trying to go to first, so that we can give them the information that they can then relay to the directors within their state. And then just was talking to Athena before we went live here about the director table interviews that we did last season. I think we did 10 or 12 director table interviews with different directors around the globe. Very successful. We want to make sure we bump those up and get more directors exposure to tell us the cool things that they're doing in their area, their country, wherever, because it's really where we learn a lot of these good ideas that are out there. So just want to kind of reinforce that communication is super important to us, and something we want to build on the communication we had last year for next year. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really excited about a lot of the educational things coming up this year, and looking forward to working with everybody on those. I touched on this a moment ago, these state and provincial events. In the U.S., every state director will be required to run their state championship. They will have an option to run an interstate event where anybody from other states can come. They can build that up and work with other state directors to make large events, kind of to offer an additional state points event in each area. And in Canada, they will be required to host that interprovincial. So there will be two events available to all players in Canada as well.
Perfect. All right, so the ACL Club engagement page. Now, this is your very first time hearing about it. Make sure that you head over to Facebook and get a chance to follow the club engagement page. We have a really, really good plan to really get this amped up for this coming season. So make sure that notifications are turned on. There's going to be a ton of different kind of information that's going to be posted here. We are working on a couple of ideas. I know that in the past we've had a lot of photos from directors. We had our Director of the Week photos and things like that. But trying to get everyone to send that information in one format wasn't always working with everyone. So this year, probably in the next couple of days or so, I'll post something in the directors group, but deciding to come up with either a tag or a hashtag so that every time you post anything in your club page or group, if there's an awesome photo, either send it our way or make sure that you either tag the club engagement group page or use a specific hashtag. So then every week, click on the hashtag, find a couple of those, then make sure that we're posting as much information, because we do want to showcase everything that you're all doing, events that are happening, state events, interstate events, anything that's coming up. So there's a lot of information. The communication end will be a mixture of the club engagement page, the Facebook messages, email. Right now, the communication plan is a 7-day-a-week communication plan at this time. So there is a ton of stuff going out here. So we're super excited. Yep.
Well, you're muted, Todd.
All right. That was actually very good that I was on mute, because I said the same thing like 3 times and mumbled through each of the 3 times. So Any last minute thoughts from any of you before we go into the questions?
For me, I'm super excited for, another season. This team here has worked really hard all season long to help provide the best experience going forward for everybody. That's players and directors alike. And so excited what this team brings to the table and ready for next year.
Great, thanks.
I could not put that one on like repeat like 50,000 times and be happy. Like it could not be enough. I do want to answer one question I just saw come in, Todd. It just said, are pros playing in opens with amateurs this year? Pros are playing in opens with amateurs this year. At our signature opens, pro play will be separated from our open play. However, pros in our women's, junior, senior, and regular group, our just generic pro group, that those players, if they do not qualify for the main pro brackets, they will be eligible to play in the opens on Saturday and Sunday. So they play in big pro brackets. They cannot play in the open, but other than that, they can. But at all of our other opens that are not signature coincided with, everyone will be together. So it's all CPI based, or our doubles is rounders based and then split into our tiers. So we're very excited to have our pros back in the mix. There were so many people that said they wanted them gone. And then we heard more complaints last year when they weren't in the mix. So we are excited to have them back across the board. They're excited to be back playing with everyone. So, and I think with CPI, it works out really well for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And just wanted to add to Michael's excitement too for the upcoming season. I mean, he pretty much hit everything. This team has worked a lot, answered lots of questions, took tons of notes all season long. So just really tried our best to get as much information out. One of the things that I would personally ask, and I'm sure kind of echoes a little bit with the team, is patience. Patience is something that you're going to hear a lot of this season as we're rolling into lots of information coming in, lots of players asking questions. There's times where, maybe a message is either sent to me, Michael, Kat, or Todd, but then an email follows to maybe someone else, and then maybe a Facebook post, and maybe a Facebook message to someone else or to another group. So just as much as humanly possible, just to make sure that we are responding as quickly as we can, as much correspondence. The preferred method would be email. State directors, you'll have the state director chat, but a big emphasis on email, because as much as we love answering all of your questions through Facebook Messenger, unfortunately, a lot of it does get lost in translation. And, we're not happy when that happens. So we want to make sure that all of your answers are being, answered as quickly as possible, but also in a way that we can, keep track of it in a much better way. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, let me jump on that real quick at the end. Yeah, I mean, I Facebook Messenger on the app on computer, I think has a new feature where you can see unread messages, and I clicked on that a couple of weeks ago and noticed that I had some unread messages from like 2 years ago. So, and I don't answer these days. I don't answer nearly the volume that these other three do. And you may look at this group and think that we're a large team with 4 of us now. It's still a very modest team. We're doing the best we can to keep up with everything, and stay ahead of the game at least a little bit. So yeah, it's certainly a challenge. In the director's guide, there is on the very last page at the very bottom, there's a list of your kind of point of contacts for their specific area. So feel free, if you've got a pro question, it's got Kat's email there. If you've got a question on engagement, it's got Athena's. If you've got some training or resource questions, it's got Michael, and so on. WCO, USA Cornhole, licensing, all of those contacts are at the bottom of that page that you can reach out to. So.
I will add to Todd's really quick. Kim Gardner, I did not forget about you. I'm still actively working on your question. I literally said something to Athena about it earlier today. And just remember, if we're not constantly like coming back to you and say, we're still working on it, we're still working on it, we're still working on it, like we promise. Oh, dark mode, Athena. We never forget about you. If it's been a while and you want to shoot us a message and just say, hey, just checking in, that's fine. But we are definitely never worried forgetting about you. But I did see where Todd had popped up a comment, Kim, I think actually came from you, about pros being listed somewhere. Pros, my goal is to have all of the pros listed on the pro page of our website once contracts are signed. We will not list anyone on the website until all of the contracts are in. We will not have any of those back, all of those back until at least October 1st. So I would say it's probably the end of October before we are able to get all of those lists posted on the website. However, in the communication I'm sending out to pros actively, like consistently this week, whether it be Top 100 or any of the other groups, they will get a list that I am literally just about to send over to the state directors that has everyone listed with their state and their category. It does not have personal information on it. I do not want to share emails and player IDs and all of the things. If someone really needs it, they can figure out how to get it on the director side, or if a player needs it, they can reach out to me if they can't find the other way to communicate with them. But we will be sharing a list with all of those players. I know a lot of them are still confused as to who's in what group and all of those things. Also, I will be doing seminars with all of the pros very, very shortly, like almost probably 2 this week to go out to them so that we can get some of their questions answered and help this process before they sign contracts and while they're reviewing the pro guide and stuff. I do want to make one note about a couple of, there were some quick questions that were coming in. I know that there were some rumors that floated around about pro players and what they were allowed to play in and all the things for next season. If a pro player asks you if they are allowed to play in other leagues throughout the season, that they are not. If they are under a pro contract with the ACL, they are not allowed to play in another league. We are doing everything across the board that we can do to grow this game and grow this league as a whole. And we believe that the product that we are putting out and the effort that we are giving our players and everything that we're providing across the board and the changes that we're making are going to be the best for everyone. And we believe that if you make the decision to sign pro with us, you're signing pro with us because you believe in our what the products that we're putting out. And so that's where we stand on that. So across the board, you cannot play in a competing league if you are in a signed pro contract on points events for another league. If anyone has any more questions about that, please feel free to send me an email.
I'll take the next one. Kim, currently the best way for accounts being merged is either a ticket through our help desk or sending me an email. Those are just going to be the 2 quickest ways currently.
Okay, sorry, scrolling through.
And you answered the question for me, is submitting it. Yeah, submitting it or emailing me both work just fine. Yeah, I'll see it either way.
Oops, sorry. Had mine on a different one.
I can take this one here, the free director membership. I know we've done some research on that last year, and you know there was very few to no events ran on a free director membership last year, and we do have some really big plans for the new app coming and the ease of creating an event in the new app. And so the current mindset is we're just going to kind of hold off till the new app comes out and really encourage any players at that time who want to run an event, learn the software through the new app. It'd be a great opportunity. And I could jump on that one too. Yep, with CPI. So, each tier that you run, whether it's at the regional event, a state event, or at the open, each tier will have a maximum CPI that can play in that tier. So let's say, tier 3 at a regional, and you say the maximum CPI of tier 3 is 6.25. That would mean nobody above a 6.25 could play in tier 3 because they have passed that maximum. So there'd be no way for advanced players that have CPI to play intermediate. And this one, the answer here, Kim, is I hope so, but not currently. So if names are reversed, I know that a player's PPR inside the swap event is very important. And so anytime I see a director message me, I will answer that as soon as possible. When I see players message me, I will look at it sometimes for a couple weeks. So if a director messages me and I understand that you're running a swap, I will be on that as quickly as possible. And long-term goal, maybe shorter than long-term goal, as we've talked about last year, is we want directors to be able to swap that in real time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just one of those items that is a bandwidth issue. It's just we have to prioritize the things that need to get done, and that just hasn't made it to the top of the list yet. Although I think Michael and Athena love it to be number one on the list right now. So,
And yep, so there'll be a lot of longer independent conversations about CPI baselines. First one being next week on the 9th. I'll get the event out for that and the YouTube link set. But yeah, we're going to have conversations all season long about CPI and baselines and how this is developing when we see a 6.25 player playing against another 6.25 player, and how that's affecting them as the season goes and what changes the conversations around CPI.
I'll jump on this one, Corey. The short answer, or the easy answer is, yes, you're limited to 10, one per month. Now, if you've talked to your predominantly a different player base, I know in the past I've allowed a director to run regionals in 2 different spots, but that's something that you have to go through state director to get approval for, to make sure that is you make sure that you're not impeding on anybody else's territory or anything like that. But yeah, if largely my answer in the past has been if you're you get approval from, at this time it was the conference director, plus you're not impeding on anybody else, plus it's I would check with your state director. Okay. Yeah, Silas, I saw you had mentioned something about ACL College. ACL College is shifting over to the Cornhole Ops group, which is this group. I don't have a ton of experience with it. I know we do the big event in Myrtle each year that Kat, Michael, and Athena have all had a hand in before. It is something that we'll be able to spend a little bit more time once we get started in this year, both college and high school, because right now the plans we have for both of those for expansion are somewhat limited. But again, it's a bandwidth issue, and once we can show that those areas are more profitable, then we can put more resources behind it. So, I don't know, Kat.
And the cool new thing with college.
Sorry.
The cool new thing with college this year, I heard Trey Ryder talking about kind of like an AP poll that's going to come out every week or every couple of weeks on the college players. And, there's like 8 or so college meets outside of ACL Opens this year, and they're going to rank players through like an AP poll system. And so that should be pretty cool.
Yeah. We've also got the college tour that's about to start going off with Jake, and I believe Sean Latham is doing that with him again. They had great success at it last year. We're very excited to do that again, on top of the fact that we'll also be offering college singles and doubles at all of our open events going across the season. At our signatures, they're also going to have the option to, the top two will also get the opportunity to play in our pro brackets to give them a little bit of a chance to see what the pro life is like after college. So we're really excited about the college program across the board. Trey is doing big things with the college council to really grow that program. I believe our Myrtle Beach event being our first pro event and our national college and high school championships will be our biggest yet, even though last year was our biggest.
Well, it seems like there's not enough room in that place anymore.
We added a building this year, so don't worry.
All right.
Yeah, Caleb, this is something we're going to all have to work through together. It's been brought up many times, but as these players, let's say player CPI is a little bit lower than their skill level, and they win a regional, right? It will be interesting for all of us to see how quickly that affects their CPI and whether we need to make an adjustment on the back end to give directors that discretion or not. So right now it's TBD until we kind of see how quickly that CPI will be affected from them playing in the wrong division.
Yeah, I think if everybody can, have a good sense of humor and just go into it knowing that this is probably going to be super clunky this year while we introduce this huge thing and then fumble our way through it. We tried to plan for all sorts of scenarios and everything, but I'm just going in with the mindset that we're going to hit road bumps, we're going to hit turbulence, and we're going to pivot and continue to evolve and make it better. So this was more of a comment for the Biloxi staff.
I was not in Biloxi.
That was Athena's first standoff open. It was great fun. We had a blast at that one.
It was a blast for us for sure. That one.
That was full of fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Daryl, the timeline for the release of the app is still on schedule for the end of the 2025. So we've got 4 months left in the calendar year. In terms of the director side of things, it'll be the player side is what we're on schedule for. The director side will be behind that. That's of course much more involved in terms of all the different formats and whatnot. So because we've been so geared up for the new season, we haven't had many conversations about the new app. So I'm not really sure where the development team is on the development side of things. But I would anticipate that there's going to be a web version plus an app version similar to what we're doing now. Because I know personally, I prefer using a laptop to do something. But I don't know, Michael or Athena, did you either of you hear anything different on that? Or I mean, we certainly want the functionality to be there to be able to run it on your phone if you want to. But I believe there's still going to be a web version.
Yeah, that's the plan as far as I know.
So, yeah, and then in engineering, our existing software with the new and working to, transition that over. We'll certainly be making sure that we have enough opportunity to test and whatnot before we fully launch anything. So. Payment labs, don't know. I know the idea is to make it much easier to get money in and to take money out. So if anybody's a DraftKings user, you know how easy it is to put money in, take money out. Hopefully, we get to that point. If it's payment labs, great. If it's another processor, then whatever it is to just make the money flow a little bit easier. So. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, with the app on the admin side, the idea is to offer almost like a light version, but make it more to where the whoever is added into the light version, or use it as a light version, but then also do kind of a quick account creation too. So if somebody doesn't want to come up and fill out an entire profile, they come up and just give their name and an email, or a name and a phone number. And then they get a follow-up email that says, hey, you created an account, finish your profile, and send them to do that. So yeah, digital wallet, debit card, that sounds good. This one, I do not anticipate that being an option. We're hyper sensitive to our security right now and making sure that our wallet stays protected. And again, with limited IT resources, we want to make sure that we're not exposing ourselves or anybody's money to, potential hackers and things like that. So until we can be bulletproof, sure that it is a seamless process, we don't have the resources of a PayPal or a Venmo or a Cash App or something like that. So if we ever get to that point, then, fingers crossed we'd be able to do that, because I know that's would be a popular option, along with a wallet debit card. Let's see. Scoreboard will change. If anything, the UI will improve, make it easier for directors to launch the scoreboard when they're running an event, and then also easy for a player to pull it up and use it to score their side games, so that when you walk through, you see the ACL scoreboard on those side games. So, don't apologize for too many questions. I'd rather you ask them, because most likely somebody else has them as well.
I know we talked about adding a widget also for like players when they go live, just as a scoreboard note. We want to make sure that there's a widget so that players that go live can have the score be on their screen instead of having to tell the score all the time.
Kim, I don't think this is an option, unless I'm reading that wrong. I'm assuming you mean money, transfer money. I don't think that is an option. So, if you mean something different, yeah,
got to jump off here. So I'm gonna say my goodbyes real quick. With you guys for the last few.
All right. Gotcha. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, this is again one of those, Caleb. This is a great question, and definitely one that's been asked. I think it's just more of a one of those items that we have to prioritize. So it's definitely one of those that we have on our roadmap. It's just getting to it. So, oops. Oh, gotcha, Kim. Okay, yeah, it's coming soon. That's it's been coming soon for a couple of years now. So yeah, let's see if we can get that removed. So thanks for the clarity. So, all right. A couple of questions did come in on the form that I sent out. One on releasing the world's date schedules. That one that's a TBD at this point. Kat,
I don't mind telling you dates, but location is TBD. Worlds will be July 27th through August 2nd. So we're going to stay on the same week that we did last week. We think it worked great for everyone. Staying at 7 days, being done before school starts. So we're going to keep that week, July 27th to August 2nd.
Ooh, gossipy information. Kat's bringing the heat.
I'm new to these. I gotta have something fun. So
Athena,
I'm cool too. I have to go with Athena.
Looks like Athena's ready for bed, so we'll try to call it a quick end here. But Athena, I think in the players guide, I might have had the wrong dates listed on that world schedule. So if Anna put that in the website, maybe we just after listed on the players guide. So.
You're in there perfectly. Yeah, my Alexa shut off my light, and I couldn't tell it to turn it back on because it's set on a schedule in this very specific room. So it's going off on me. And we've got cornhole tonight. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're long here, but the questions were great questions. I do have a couple more. Any chance to bringing back the club monthly $3.99 deal? It's not going to be part of the initial membership loss. Once we have the app, we do want to bring that back because there's going to be some other opportunities with the memberships and whatnot. But for now, no, we're not going to have a monthly deal. Just programming wise, it was causing all sorts of headaches, and it was just we don't have the bandwidth. We got to focus on functionality right now. So. And then the updated Davis has been working really hard on creating designs. It's now, after we get player memberships launched, the next two priorities are making sure CPI is fully up and running at all levels, and then also the club pages for directors so that they can have more flexibility with what they're showing and displaying. So. All right, that was a long one. I think we got through the information in an hour, and then the questions were a half hour, which was great. Thank you. You didn't catch the whole thing, and you have questions, shoot one of us a message, and we'll get you an answer to the call or questions. So, all right. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Stan.
Thank you, guys. Bye.